TFA fam, good morning to all of you. Hope your week is off to a good start. Maybe you got some players going in this London game. Seems like the Randall Cobb revitalization tour is in full effect across the pond. We're here to help you out, answer all of your start-sit questions up until about 12:30, 12:45. Got a little disappointing for the Jayhawks, Robbie.
So close. Second string quarterback, they did what they could. It was a fun game day.
Glad you're here with me. Glad you're alive. Let's jump into some of these questions. I also have to fix my headphones. So I will throw this first one to you, coming from Michael Brown. Who should I start at my flex? Amon-Ra, Jamal Williams, Hollywood, Duvernay, Pierce, or Miles Sanders? PPR league counts 10 return yards as 1 point.
If you just need the one player, it's going to be hard to sit Amon-Ra, who is expected to play coming back. I mean, I like Hollywood as well. Hollywood's been very, very involved in that Cardinals passing offense. It's probably between both of those guys, but I do have Amon-Ra coming back this week, ranked above Hollywood. What say you?
I think Miles Sanders is in a really interesting spot. Looks like I've seen conflicting stuff on Amon-Ra. Seems like he was expected to play. I've also seen game time decisions, so I'm not entirely sure on him.
He practiced limited on Friday. And I guess I've seen mostly expected to play, but yeah, we'll have to keep that monitored. We will get inactives for this early slate of games here in about 25 minutes.
I'm going to go. I think if you need to shoot for ceiling, I'm going to go Hollywood in a game where they're expected to be playing from behind. We've seen a game recently where Hollywood had 17 targets.
Mhm.
Rondale Moore banged up. That just completely crushes Greg Dortch. Seems like he's good to go. I'm going to go Hollywood if you need the upside, and I like Miles Sanders if you just need safety.
Yeah, Miles Sanders has been playing really, really well. That's not a bad option as well.
Great matchup.
Yeah. If we're both pretty close and we want consensus here, I'm right there with Hollywood right next to Amon-Ra.
Okay.
I think they both have boom weeks potential with other options not being available in their games.
Moving on, our guy Porter rocking with us. 10-person league. Who should I start? Hollywood, Corey Davis, or MVS? This is 100% going to be Hollywood for me. Although Corey Davis playing sneakily well. I think he has at least 70 yards in 3 out of 4 games.
I mean, it helps when the Jets are throwing 45 times a game. So, yeah,
it does. Yeah, that is going to be Hollywood. MVS really isn't in a discussion here. It is going by so fast. It feels like it always takes so long to get here, and then before you know it, it's week 5, and we're starting to look at trade deadlines and making moves for playoffs and things like that. But appreciate you guys for always rocking with us. Alexis does have a question. Do we trust Dalton Schultz? I got him for cheap. I think when Dak comes back, Schultz will do better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love him for this week in particular, but I do think long term you'll see some of those. Some of the reason why we were excited coming into the season, he was a top 6, top 7 consensus tight end, and it was because it was really CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz, and not a lot of other options. Now Michael Gallup is back, but we did see Dalton Schultz have 100+ targets last season with Michael Gallup playing 15 of those 17 games. So I think he's going to be good long term. I wouldn't be worried about him, but there probably are a couple better options. Gerald Everett for one is a guy I have ranked above him. Njoku's right there. Irv Smith I have right there. So there's some other options I'm open to for this week.
Yeah, I think of Schultz as your only guy, though. I'm assuming Njoku's definitely gone. Everett is fringy, and Irv Smith is probably available. I don't mind rocking with Schultz. He was taken off the injury report. Played, I think, a bunch, like almost the majority of the snaps last week as well. He got targeted, I think, just kind of came up with a zero burger. But the fact that he was on the field, running the routes, taken off the injury report, I mean, we should expect his mobility and maybe some of his explosiveness to be affected by this, kind of the same way we saw with Zeke. I think it's a similar injury to what he had last year. But it's not like we're looking at Dalton Schultz as a Njoku type athleticism. You know what I mean? So it's he can still catch the ball, 7 yards downfield and fall down. So depending on your options, I don't mind just rocking with Schultz this week.
Yep.
Joey C, we need 2.5 PPR. Wilson, Deontay, or Amari Cooper. I'm going to sit Wilson.
Yeah, he's the riskiest out of the bunch. Now, he's been having a really, really good snap share, good production. Even last week, it wasn't fantastic, but he's getting good yards per route run. But he's definitely the riskiest, I think, out of these three. I'll go Cooper and Deontay Johnson, but I really don't love Deontay Johnson. The Bills secondary continues to be banged up. No Poyer. One of their starting cornerbacks is also out, but they continue to just shut people down because of how good the defense is, right? They're getting to the quarterback, they're getting sacks, they're causing pressure. And so this Bills defense, I think, is actually number 1 or number 2 against wide receivers in general. So I'm not loving Deontay, but that said, he's still expected to be that main target receiver from his quarterback, where you can't say the same for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. And I think we saw it didn't come completely to fruition last week, but they definitely they ran close to the same amount of plays that they have been running when Flacco was under center, but they were more balanced. So I think that definitely takes a hit for everybody. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna go with the other two. Shout out to Walito coming through while at work. Look at this, Walito coming through, making money, spending money. That's why he's the GOAT. Appreciate you, Walito. Who dat? Hey, I like the Saints this week. I'm not all about that Geno talk. I've been seeing some Geno chatter. I don't think it comes through this week.
Yeah.
Another question here, quarterback question from Porter: Joe Burrow or Cooper Rush? And then Porter says, "I'm good with Cooper Rush." I want to see what you guys think. I'm assuming this is going to be a 100% slam for both of us for Burrow.
Yeah. I don't know why we feel comfortable with Cooper Rush. Just a low end QB2 in a not great matchup, with a tough pass rush coming against him with Aaron Donald and company. So I think I have Cooper Rush maybe QB 30th out of 32 starters. So yeah, I do not feel good with Cooper Rush, even as the Dallas fan that I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's happening is Cooper Rush is exceeding expectations and he's playing well. So now people are like, "Oh, is he better than Dak?" Like, look, can we pump the brakes on that?
Yeah,
please?
we're not entertaining
this
that.
isn't
We're not entertaining that. Yeah,
Porter, this isn't directed at you, but there are a lot of people who love themselves some Cooper Rush. But with the situation that Burrow is in this week, he's in an absolute smash matchup against Baltimore. So this is 100% Burrow.
that and just Cooper Rush isn't producing fantasy wise. Like, he can play well, and I think he is playing well as a backup quarterback. But he's averaging around 225 passing yards, which is okay. He's averaging a touchdown a game. Like, he's a low end QB2. End of story.
Yeah. Garvey, we need 2 and a full PPR. Dobbins, Brees, and Damien.
Damien Pierce is going to be my first one.
Then I'm going to sit Brees.
Yep, I'm sitting Brees. We liked his production last week. The matchup with their offensive line versus the defensive line for Miami is not great, and I don't think he gets 17 carries. You were just talking about how they're a lot more balanced. I think they maybe need to reverse that back a little bit to the passing game, because I do think they fall behind against Miami, even with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. I just think the Jets are a distant second team in this game.
Yeah, I like what I saw out of JK. I think Brees probably has the higher pass catching ceiling over JK in a PPR, but we saw him, slightly involved in the passing game, and now there's no Rashad Bateman either. So I think they're going to lean a little bit more on JK now that he has, another week under his belt. I think Ronnie Stanley should be returning, if I'm remembering correctly, which will be a huge, huge help to that offensive line. So I like Dobbins here and Pierce. Dobbins and Hall are close, but I give the edge to Dobbins. Hayden Hurst or OJ Howard. We're going to rock with Hayden Hurst. He should be good to go. Abraham, good to see Pena in here. He needs 2 RBs. Najee, Sanders, Jacobs, or Breece Hall. Already started Pittman and Sutton, and that wasn't the best.
Real quick, going back to the last matchup, if Juwan Johnson is available, I like him as a tight end against Seattle over both Hayden Hurst and OJ Howard. Seattle's given up the most yardage to tight ends so far through 4 weeks, and he's been involved. 3 for 30. He's right there. But I think with this matchup, with no Michael Thomas, I like him as a really good streamer tight end. So I'd look at that option for Porter there. And then here for 2 running backs. I mean, it's how do you sit Sanders right now, man? He's playing so well. One of my biggest misses last week was Jacobs. He was going against a really tough run defense in the Broncos and just decimated them.
I took the under on his.
Yeah, we definitely took some losses there. So I'm locking in Sanders. Who are you liking for your second running back there?
I feel like I'm chasing with going to Jacobs. I'm gonna go Najee, but it's closer than it should be, right? He's going up like Najee going up against a really tough defensive front, expected to be playing from behind, but maybe the Steelers try and slow this down and feed Najee to try and keep that Buffalo offense off the field. And maybe also with a rookie quarterback, we see some more checkdowns trying to get, because you were talking about that pass rush. Oh no, that was for the Dallas game. But the pass rush for Buffalo also very stout. So maybe they're going to try and get that ball out of his hands a little bit quicker, and that ends up in some more Najee targets where we weren't necessarily seeing those from Trubisky.
Yeah, I see similarities there, and I'm going to lean Josh Jacobs only because I trust this offense a little bit more than I trust Kenny Pickett and the Steelers offense in a really tough matchup. So I don't think they have the same game script that they've been having, but Josh Jacobs has gotten 10 attempts, 19 attempts, 13, and then 28. So we're not seeing the 28, obviously, against the Chiefs. But I do like the volume that he's getting. And then he's actually producing with that volume, right? He's averaging upper 4s in yards per carry. He's getting good yards before contact. And so I'm just going to trust that Raiders line a little bit more than the Steelers. And so give me Jacobs to edge out Najee. So let's go Sanders and Jacobs. And he has been involved in the pass game the last 2 weeks, 5 receptions and 5 receptions in each of the last 2 games. With Hunter Renfrow coming back, I probably don't see that, but there is that little bit of a bump there.
Logan Thomas officially ruled out.
Ooh, good information.
So my Curtis Samuel prop is looking even better. 4.5 receptions. That's a smash on the over. And his yards were only like at 43.5 as well. And I'm smashing that too. And then we have Hawkinson or Patty Fry.
Hawkinson was ridiculous last week.
Yeah.
Like, insane.
He's the sole reason why I cashed any of my FanDuel lineups.
Yes. If you had him, we're obviously not expecting anything like that, but I'm still going to go Hawkinson over Patty Fry. Amon-Ra probably comes back, which takes a little bit of a ding to Hawkinson's overall target share, but we're still missing Chark. We're still missing Swift. So it's really an Amon-Ra, Josh Reynolds, and Hawkinson show. And I get it, the Patriots are a little bit stiffer of a pass defense than Seattle is, but I still have Hawkinson. They're right next to each other. I think I have them at 8 and 10 this week for tight end rankings. I'm going to go Hawkinson.
I'm going to lean Hawk as well. Matt Milano is one of the better coverage linebackers in the league. So, he might be seeing the targets, but I like Hawk there. Andrea, need one flex. Hollywood, Olave, Damien Pierce. Ooh, this is an interesting group. Man.
I hate that we have all of these Hollywood flex options because he's been really good so far this year. And I'm not sure
Yeah,
people
past
have
couple weeks.
like he's been 4 for 43 and a touchdown, 6 for 68, 14 for 140, 6 for 88 and a touchdown. Like I would say, just off the top of my head, 2 of those are wide receiver one, like high end wide receiver 1 weeks, and the other 2 wide receiver 2 weeks. He should be locked into lineups. That said, this is a really good group to have to try and pick
Yeah.
between. But if we're going PPR, I'm going to trust him a little bit over Olave. I do like Olave as well this week, but give me Hollywood out of these 3.
No, weren't leaning Damien Pierce at all.
I do like Damien Pierce as well, but the PPR is just going to lean me towards Brown. Like, hey, they're both going to have good yardage, right? 60, 80, 100 yards, somewhere around there. PPR is just going to give that bump. If Hollywood catches 6, 7 balls, Damien Pierce is only going to catch, 2, 3? It just kind of gives me a little bit extra of a bump there for PPR. That's why I'm not considering him quite as strongly.
Yeah, I agree. He was just someone who stands out in that group. Abraham wants to know: should I drop Stafford for Carr?
Also, how did Damien Pierce have 6 catches for 8 yards last week? 6 catches, 8 yards, not great.
That's a Miles Sanders line,
right? They're both in the same realm here, talking about Stafford and Carr. They're both going to be low-end QB1s, high-end QB2s most weeks. I do not like Stafford this week. He's missing all 3 of his week 1 starters for the interior offensive line. So his left guard, center, right guard, all out, one on IR against that Dallas pass rush defense, which has been one of the best in the league, led by Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. So I don't think it's going to be a great performance outside of maybe Cooper Kupp doing his thing, right? So I do have Carr over Stafford this week. So you could drop him, right? But each week I'm going to be flipping which guy I like more.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Carr slightly this week, then going forward. I think you can drop Stafford just because I don't think a lot of people are going to be rushing to pick him up. Maybe outside of someone who went, say they went late quarterback and took Tua, and now they're streaming. Maybe somebody like that picks up Stafford, but with as bad as that offense has been looking and all the negativity that's being thrown toward the Rams' way, you could end up picking him back up. But I mean, if we just need one for this week, I would lean Carr.
Yeah, Stafford's had 3 or 4 weeks with less than 11 fantasy points at the quarterback position. Has not been good. I think you're fine to flip him for Carr because I expect Carr to have a better week.
Devonta, Gallup, or Woods. This is going to be Smitty for me, the Slim Reaper.
Correct. Really like him this week. He's a top 24 wide receiver for me.
And I like Gallup as well. I mean, I think people are going to look at Woods with Treylon Burks heading to IR, but I mean, I think we see Kyle Phillips rotate in, and it's just going to be a lot of Derrick Henry. So I like Smitty there. Have Jefferson, Sutton, Pittman, Najee, Brees, Jacobs, and Sanders. You think I should trade any of these players for someone better? I mean,
I'd like for him to have a good Najee week, and then that would be the person that I'd look to pivot, but that's most likely not going to be this week. You could make an argument about selling high on Sanders. He's been so productive. Do we think that continues at this? Yeah, for sure. Those 2 options. Do we think that continues? Maybe you pick which one you like more schedule-wise and long-term between those 2, and it's probably going to be Sanders that you prefer and pivot on the other one. What do you think there?
Yeah, I would just and I know I give this answer a lot as a non-answer, but I would just let my league decide for me. I would put Jacobs and Sanders, send out a text or your group message board, whatever you have, and say, hey, Jacobs and Sanders are on the block. Let me, send me some offers, and then the best offer you get, you take that one. That's how I would handle it, because I don't have a strong feeling between Jacobs and Sanders the rest of the season. Obviously Sanders is probably more likely to be splitting touches between Jalen Hurts, Gainwell, Boston Scott. But that Raiders offensive line just scares me as well. Like I think, especially looking at last week, I think they way overproduced on what they should have. So that's the way that I would handle it. I think you definitely want to keep your 3 wide receivers there. I know Pittman obviously had a down game. Sutton didn't do much either. Uh, Najee would be the guy that I want to trade, like you said, but how long are you going to hold on to that bag? And unless you just want to completely get out and sell low, which I wouldn't necessarily be doing. But Jacobs and Sanders, throw them on the block, or maybe somebody loves Breece Hall. You can include him too, but I would expect to get more out of Jacobs and Sanders.
Yeah, I'm not trading Breece Hall. That schedule opens up, and I think we continue to see him get more and more of that work share. I do think it's interesting to note that we'll keep going. I'll touch on them a little later. We'll keep going.
Raylan, appreciate you coming through and doing the work for us. We would appreciate if everyone did like the stream and subscribe if you are not yet subscribed. And I am looking forward to Raylan's first random question here.
Yes.
Coming up
Yes.
in 5 minutes. I have one ready. I do have one ready, but I'll hold on to that one. Darius has a question. Starter sit Jeff Wilson or Kareem Hunt?
Hard to sit Jeff Wilson. He just produces and gets the work each week. I always want to start that 49ers running back if they're healthy, right? Yeah, I'm going to go Wilson. Too. Yeah,
Wilson for me as well. Andy Dalton or Jacoby Brissett? I'm gonna roll with the Red Rocket.
Yeah, same.
I don't think it's a bad matchup for Brissett either. The Chargers defense is riddled with injuries, and they have been getting got through the air as well. But going to roll the Red Rocket. You want to talk about a defense that's getting got through the air. Look no further than the Seattle Seahawks. Do we think guys like Kittle and Pitts turn around this season, or is it just bad play calling and coaching? I'm not sure. Like Kittle has never been a consistent, reliable fantasy option. It's just that whenever he hits, he looks elite, and he is elite, right? He is an elite tight end, but he's so good at blocking, and that San Fran Shanahan system is so predicated on the run that like he blocks a lot. So he's gonna have those games that like at the end of the season, you're like, damn, Kittle was tight end 4 in points per game again. Next year, man, that's gonna be, but it's not. He's gonna have games where he gets 4 targets. He's gonna have games where he gets 10 targets. I don't know that it's necessary. I think it's bad play calling to an extent, but at the same time, like they're winning games. The run game obviously functions extremely well. There's a reason why we all fall over ourselves to go out on the waiver wire and get San Fran running back, whoever that ends up being. And then with Pitts, I do think it is bad play calling.
Yeah, I saw a tweet from Josh Larkey this morning here. It goes, yeah, you've seen Moneyball where they're explaining the how to work analytics right into your game. And he goes, Billy, this is George Kittle. He's a elite route runner. He's the most dangerous tight end in NFL history after the catch. He's a fiery competitor. His defect is he now plays left tackle.
Yeah,
but he's just too good at blocking.
That one blew up. Yeah,
it did. So that you hit on the head. He's just blocking a lot. I expect him to get better. Pitts better, but maybe not to the extent where he was drafted.
Yeah, and Pitts is still going to be hampered by quarterback play and the offense as a whole.
Yep.
Top tight ends available to play instead of Schultz or Ingram, Henry, Tonyan, and Disley. Well, Tanyan's not available.
Yep. I mean, Henry's interesting with Jonnu Smith being out, and they're going against the Lions, who can't stop anything through the air. So that's super interesting. If it's my team, I don't know if I can pull that and do it, but I definitely think they're close.
Yeah, it's Bailey Zappi. You're like, do you want to hitch your wagon to? I mean, not Cooper Rush. It's what I mean. It's not like we have like a massive. We're not talking about Dak being back. But like you said, I don't know that I would have the cojones to make that move. Although Henry might have a higher ceiling.
For sure, touchdown machine last year, right when Johnny was less involved. For sure.
Zeke, Hall, Connor. We need one here for Ethan.
James Conner. with Brees Hall kind of right there as a lower end RB2.
Yeah, I'll go Connor. My only worry there is that game gets out of hand. He doesn't see the volume. But I think I like him. I like him over Brees. Kicker question, Robbie. Fire up those kicker rankings, buddy. Tucker, Hopkins, or Folk?
Hey, we're going Tucker. He's not in bad weather. He's back to kicker #1 status. I think they could both teams can put up points in that ball game. Give me Justin Tucker.
This one is going to be Pats D Porter. The Lions are dreadful. CB, if Amon plays, do I start him or go with Olave, London, or Curtis Samuel? Already have Waddle in, who is hurt. They say he is playing. Waddle is expected to play. Same thing with Tyreek Hill, so they should be good to go. Man, I know we should like London with Pitts being out, and they just have nobody else to throw to. But I do not like that matchup for him. Curtis Samuel is really interesting to me, like I said, especially now with Logan Thomas ruled out. We already have Jahan Dotson out, and the Titans are letting up points, fantasy points through the air as well. Then you have Olave. Man, this is a really interesting group. I think I'm just going to shoot for the upside and go Olave out of this group. I think Curtis Samuel is probably the safer one, but I'm not entirely sure how high his ceiling is in this game. London, I don't love the matchup, even though he should see 8 to 12 targets, probably. But Olave here. What?
They only threw it like 10 times last week. I don't know if he gets to 8 to 10 targets. But
I think Tampa Bay just comes out and absolutely shreds them apart.
Yeah. So lower on Amon-Ra, they have the inactives out, and he is not listed on them. That doesn't mean he's going to get a full snap share, but expected to play has been kind of the reports that I've seen. Let me know why you're kind of fading that. Is it just a little bit matchup with the Pats, or?
Yeah, a little bit of the matchup. I still think that even though this might not be the Patriots defense of old, you still have, Bill Belichick in their game planning, and we're still talking about Jared Goff, and I know he's played well. I think it's another one of those things where it's been like above expectation. The line's been so bad for so long. I'm fine with St. Brown, but I guess on the plus side of that is they do have the bye coming up. So if he weren't relatively good to go, there wouldn't be any reason to run him out there. Kind of the same approach they're taking with DeAndre Swift. I just like this spot for Olave going up against a defense that is awful at what Olave is really good at.
Yeah. I have Olave as a top 24 guy. I am going to have Amon-Ra higher, so I have him as the start, but I don't hate Olave either. A couple of inactives to note: Isaiah McKenzie, inactive for Buffalo. He might be a flex question for some people. And then Julio and Rashad Perryman also inactive for the Bucks. So they will roll out Evans and Godwin and Russell Gage.
Does Taysom Hill tickle your fancy?
No.
Me either. Axe over on Twitch. Start one: Damien Harris, Damien Pierce, Miles Sanders.
Ooh, a lot of good options, especially this week.
Yeah, all three of these matchups are plus matchups.
I think I have all three of these guys as top 15 backs, top 16 backs. Oh my gosh. Ooh, give me Damien Pierce. He's not splitting. Damien Harris, they're going to have work go to Stevenson. Stevenson's had double-digit carries, I think, every week so far. Sure, Harris has been scoring touchdowns, and he should score a touchdown against these Lions. But I got to rock with Damien Pierce in an equally good matchup. Oh, I have Miles Sanders even a spot ahead of them. I don't know. I like them all. Spin a bottle. Give me Sanders. I do have him highest.
I'm going to go Sanders as well, and the tiebreaker I'm using here is just the best offense.
And the highest over-under, I think.
Highest, like they have one of the highest implied point totals, better offensive line. But that's tough, man. This is a tough group to sit any of those guys. But the edge goes to Miles. Would we do Devonta Smith and Woods for Kittle and Keenan in a PPR? Yes.
You're getting Kittle and Keenan, yes.
Yeah, even with Kittle being disappointing and everything we were just touching on in terms of why he's not as great of a fantasy asset, at least through these first couple of weeks. I still think you're making out there. Pick 3. So we need to sit one out of this group between Pierce. Man, a lot of Damien Pierce questions today. Pierce, Hall, Jeff Wilson, and Dobbins.
It's been a lot of Damien Pierce, and I haven't been picking him in a couple, and I really like him this week. He's a ranked 13th.
I'm going to sit Hall out of this group.
Let's sit Breece Hall. Yes, I agree.
Godwin or Hollywood in a half PPR?
Hollywood.
I'm gonna go Godwin. We're gonna be split on this one.
Put just like up, Walito. We're going half PPR. We didn't have one last week. We got to have one here. I think they're both good options. I just can't sit. Hollywood's been good, man.
Yeah, he has been. Godwin finally off the injury report, even in last week where it seemed like he got banged up approximately 33 times during that game. Still came out with 10 targets, and now they have a very, very juicy matchup with Atlanta. So I like Godwin there, but I also like Hollywood. I just have Godwin just slightly above. TX, Cousins or T-Law?
Oh, I think Cousins is going to smash in this matchup. No Jalen Johnson for the Bears secondary. They have a young secondary to begin with. They're probably going to be starting their their second and third round rookie picks. This is going to be Cousin for me. Mr.
Wong, flex, full PPR, Kittle or Kareem Hunt?
Oh, interesting. He's got to be starting at tight end. He's got to be starting Kelsey, Andrews. Who else would you have?
Maybe no tight end requirement. Maybe the tight end spot is one of those flex spots.
Okay. Oh, man. Is this one of those safeties versus upside plays? Trying to find Kareem Hunt here. Okay, I've got him low end running back 2, high end flex. I mean, he's been getting double-digit touches, but we're talking about just barely getting double-digit touches, 11, 10, 12, 15. The receiving numbers aren't great. Your safety is Hunt.
For sure.
But I want, in my flexes, I want the upside. And in PPR, give me Kittle. Give me Kittle in this.
Walito, let's split it again. Write it down. I'm gonna go Kareem Hunt.
Just because Kittle booms. Yeah, go ahead.
I know. I hope so. My only worry with that game is that San Fran just throttles Carolina.
Oh God, they probably will.
And that Kittle's not seeing a ton of targets to begin with, and if they're ahead, it's not like Shanahan's gonna be like, you know what? Let's just open it up, baby.
How do they get ahead? 2 kill touchdowns in the first quarter, baby.
Put it on the board. Put it on the board. I don't mind Kittle either, Mr. Wong. I think if we're looking for a consensus, if you feel good about your matchup, you can roll with Kareem Hunt. If you think you're going to be playing from behind, you're not necessarily feeling good about your matchup, then you can roll Kittle because he probably does have the higher ceiling. Our guy Gator fan rocking with us. Thoughts on Renfro and Wilson going forward? Picked up both. I have Hollywood Cooks, my starting wide receivers, and I have Bateman, Woods, A-Rob, and none have done much. I think it's really hard for Renfro because now you're talking about him competing with targets with Devonta Adams. You have Waller at full health. Mac Hollins is apparently a thing. So it's not like last year where it was like just Renfro because we had Waller, banged up a bunch. Brian Edwards on a milk carton. And then same thing with Wilson. Like, I think Wilson is fine. I would definitely have him above Renfro rest of season. But the thing with Wilson is, like we saw last week, Zach Wilson back in there, and they really dial back the pass attempts, which is just odd and concerning. That it's like, all right, Flacco, get in there, buddy, 50, drop back 50 times. And it's like, Zach Wilson, hey, let's hand off a little bit more. like that is concerning.
Game script played into that, right? Where Jets' first 3 weeks, more or less, were always in negative game scripts, and they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. You know what I mean? So they didn't have to throw, which I think we need to recognize.
Yeah.
People are going to associate it Flacco to Wilson. They're passing less, and I don't think that's the entire story. I think it was the game script didn't call for it. They could run the football. They wanted to burn some clock. So I just want to note that a little bit. Garrett Wilson's going to be in this hodgepodge. Whose week is it? Moore's, his, a little bit of Tyler Conklin for your pleasure. And then Renfro is going to be a distant third target for that Raiders team. So don't love Renfro as much as I do Wilson.
Penny or Herbert for Christian Welch.
Willie Welch, the grape god, back again.
Speaking of back, the Vols.
Yeah.
Really interesting matchup for Christian's Vols and for my Nittany Lions this week.
Really? Who?
Michigan at the Big House.
Okay.
Top 10 Penn State, top 8 Tennessee Vols.
Yeah.
But I think Vols have Bama this week.
Lock it in. I think I'm going to lean Penny as just more of the guy for that offense. With Monty mixing back in, I think it's going to decrease Herbert's upside there. Give me Penny.
Yeah, if Monty were out, I'd be on Herbert. I don't love Penny's matchup, but the fact that Monty is back and playing, I'm going to lean Penny there as well. Ethan Smith, we need 3 in a PPR. Dobbins, Eckler, Williams, and Pierce. Man, where are you guys getting all of these running backs from?
Send some my way. Lost Devonta in a handful of leagues. Goodness gracious. Eckler, 1. Pierce, 2.
Yes. Man. This is a place where I'd have to update my rankings because I do not believe that I have them ranked this way. But I think I'm going to sit Jamal.
Yeah, I don't have it ranked that way either. I'm gonna sit Jamal as well. I'm gonna sit Jamal. Yep.
Yeah. Gator has a 2QB question starting Ryan Tannehill. Then I have to choose between Stafford and Cooper Rush. Which side of that game do you want, Robbie?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Stafford. I'm gonna go Stafford.
Would you go Stafford and Rush ahead of Tanny?
No, I don't know what the upside for Cooper Rush is. Maybe 2 touchdowns, 240 yards, right? Like, he's not throwing for 300. Cooper Rush is probably your 10 to 15 point quarterback, right? I get it. We've said the same thing for Stafford, that he hasn't had more than 11 points other than 1 week, but between the two, I got to start Stafford.
London or Cooper in a full PPR?
Close.
I'm going to go Cooper. Like I said, it worries me that London, obviously Pitts wasn't getting targeted a bunch, but defenses still had to account for him. And now it's just London going up against a good secondary and a good defense in general. So I'm going to go Cooper.
I have Cooper 2 spots ahead of London. Let's go Cooper.
Did want to jump down to this one. because Reynolds said he was going to be dropping this at 11:30. The random question: would you rather have a bad haircut or bad fantasy loss or prop bet loss? Bad haircut. I know I look like a turd anyway, so like I would rather just have the bad haircut, just shave half my head, give me a skullet, give me the bad haircut, give me my dubs. I'm married. I don't need to look good for anyone anymore. Like it doesn't matter.
Well, what can I say? I can't go against that. I don't know. I feel like because we make so many prop bets and we make so many fantasy takes that I have a bad one every week. Like, you have 3 good ones to every bad one, or you hope to, right? So I'm taking one every week. So I'll just continue that trend where I'm going to have a bad fantasy loss or prop bet loss every week.
Well, Robbie, you're in the public eye. You need to look good. I'm not. I stay at home. I'm a recluse. I'm married. I don't need to look good for anyone. Like you can give me a bad haircut right now.
The Friar Tuck look. You ever seen that? It's back from the Robin Hood early on, where bald on top, and then you just have like the ring around the ring of hair, like the old man. Yeah, the Friar Tuck.
Okay. Yeah, just give me all of it. Give me all of it. Raheem, Chase, or Algier? I'm gonna go Mostert.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Mostert there.
Not a good spot for Algier in his first potential start here. Rough times. Full PPR, Kamara, Pierce, or J-Rob in the flex. Your advice helped me win last week. Hey, we got one right. We got one right, baby. Let's go.
Log off. Log off. We're done. We're done.
The proof is there. The channel is now done.
I mean, this is going to be Kamara for me, although they're all good options. Rough times. You are not in rough times. You're in fantastic times. Who are you starting here that we're sitting all of these other pieces? I mean, obviously J-Rob wasn't highly drafted. Pierce wasn't highly drafted. So you could have, your other studs there. So you probably have it exactly how you should. But I'd love to see the rest of your lineup. I'm starting Kamara out of these 3.
Samesies. Need out, fellas. Got Cook at RB1, Jamal at RB2, Kamara at flex. St. Brown on bench is a game time decision. He is active. Do I play St. Brown or do I go if he's if he's good to go? Yeah, I mean, depending truth what Debo AJ Brown is wide receiver 1 and 2, Brees on bench. Jesus, truth. You are. Yeah, I mean, the way that the rest of your lineup is set up, I think you're fine just to throw a Monra in there if he goes. Yes. I like a Monra over Breach. Brees. Words are difficult. Mike Williams or Devonta Smith. That dude is a beast. I'm gonna go Mike Will. I do like Smitty this week. But again, we have Keenan Allen out. We have, Josh Palmer was on the injury report earlier in the week. Seems like he's good to go, but he, seems like he is a little bit banged up. Didn't play a ton. We saw his snaps and routes run really drop off last week. Was that in part due to the ankle injury? Not entirely sure. But Mike Williams without Keenan Allen is a play I always want to make. Yeah,
and I think you have to, right? 2 games of over 100 yards without Keenan Allen. He's going to have his down weeks. He's an inconsistent wide receiver, so you're taking that risk. But I'd say the same thing for Devonta Smith, right? I mean, we saw his down week last week. Give me Mike Williams.
Njoku or Patty Fry? I'm going to go Njoku here.
I'll stick with Freiermuth.
Mark it down. Hall
11
or
and
Sanders?
12. Tight end 11 and 12. Pick whoever you want.
Hall or Sanders in a PPR. That is going to be Miles Sanders for both of us. Schultz or Conklin?
How many times do we doubt Conklin? This is the Cordero Patterson from last year, just at the tight end position. Yeah.
Having said that, I'm going Schultz.
Having said that, I'm going Schultz because I'm going to continue to be wrong on it.
Porter, let us know which defense you meant. Bryce, what tight end, PPR, Logan Thomas or Evan Ingram? Logan Thomas has been ruled out, so you are rolling with Evan Ingram. Murdoch, Olave, Williams, Waddle, Kirk. Pick 3. And then on that last end, Murdoch, it's going to be Kamara. We do really like both of the Patriots running backs this week, but can't start Stevenson over Kamara. He's in an absolutely great spot. And if you're in the prop bets, his rushing total was at like 57.5. Love that over. So we need to sit one here out of this group with Olave, Williams, Waddle, and Kirk. Man, this is I'm gonna sit Olave, but I don't feel great about it.
I'm going to sit.
The other one that I would think about here would be Waddle. Just with him being banged up, Teddy B at quarterback. Obviously, we saw him play well last week, but that's not a bet that I would want to make just blindly. Obviously, Waddle banged up as well. I'm going to sit Olave, but I don't love it.
I mean, I don't know how they're doing it this week, but they're just giving us questions where they're like right there, where I've got Kirk 15, Williams 16, Waddle 17, Olave 18. Like I'm not kidding. and I'm looking at it trying to determine, do I have it ranked how I would play it where Olave's sitting? And I think I agree with you where I'd bump Waddle 2 spots down. And I think I'd sit Waddle. Gosh, these are so close. Yeah, I'm going to sit Waddle. Barkley headed to the locker room with shoulder injury for those not watching.
That's what my sigh of disgust was.
Yeah, I sighed about 30 seconds before that. Yeah, I'm gonna sit Stevenson and Waddle.
Yeah, I don't mind the Waddle call either. How do we feel about Bateman long term? Would you take him over Deontay in PPR?
Yeah, but not by a lot.
Yeef, is this I know you asked the dynasty trade question. Is this for dynasty? Because that might change Robbie's answer. So let's do this for both just rest of season and then a dynasty take as well.
I don't know where Deontay did the 2-year deal for dynasty.
2 or 3, yeah.
It was a short deal, if I remember right.
Correct.
2 years, 36. Yeah, I'm gonna do Bateman slightly for both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have Bateman for this year, but Deontay in dynasty.
Yeah, I'm assuming Lamar gets that deal finally done, and I will take Lamar to Bateman. Even if Kenny Pickett becomes that guy, I'll take Lamar to Bateman over Pickett to Deontay.
Do you have Irv Smith over Evan Ingram?
I do. Yeah, I'm glad. I was going to touch back on that. 2 guys I have that I play above him, Irv Smith and Juwan Johnson, tight end for the Saints.
Emilio, Monty, Hall, Cooks, DJ Moore at flex full PPR. I'm going to go Cooks. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect with Monty. We know Brees, even though he's starting to take over that backfield, Carter's still going to mix in, and I can't fuck with DJ Moore.
Correct. Yeah. Give me Cooks.
Amon-Ra or Pierce?
This is one where I'm going to go Pierce here.
Just from the safety aspect?
Yeah. I think Amon-Ra's playing, and he's probably playing a mostly full complement of snaps. I think Pierce is doing well where either one, when they're healthy, can score more. Pierce has shown that he's taken over that backfield.
Another one here for True, starting Pearson Jones at running back, Kirk at flex, got Connor Herbert on bench. If no on Herbert, I can drop now Monty. Okay, good to go. Need to drop one for a kicker, CPAT or Herbert.
And CPAT can't go to IR.
Well, he can't because he has Dak at IR.
He's got Dak at IR. Okay.
So we were telling Truth on the Wednesday stream just to go without a kicker this week. I still wouldn't want to drop Herbert because he might have some standalone value. Then if Monty gets banged up again, we know that Herbert's going to be the guy in that backfield. Tristan Ebner will mix in a little bit, but not to the extent that Herbert was mixing in with Monty. I would feel like Dak should potentially be back. I mean, I think if you have to drop anyone, you can drop CPAT. I don't think that necessarily anyone's going to look at CPAT as like, all right, need to go get him and stash him. He might slide underneath waivers, but I would just go without a kicker, like we were saying on Wednesday. But Robbie, what advice do you have?
I don't want to sacrifice a kicker spot if I need the win, right? Like maybe you're 4-0, maybe you're only expecting the kicker to get you 7-8 points, right? And you're already doing well from the Thursday games. I don't know what the situation is exactly, but I still don't want to handicap myself 7-8 points. And so I think with CPAT being out for 4 weeks minimum, right? There's nothing that says it can't be longer. Right. And when he comes back, if Algier showed anything, if Caleb Huntley has showed anything, it's going to be a timeshare. Avery Williams. It's going to be a timeshare on an offense that isn't great anyways. I think you're fine doing that to not sacrifice 5 to 10 points this week from your kicker, right?
Yeah, like I said, I think like you were kind of touching on in terms of like record, how good do you feel about it? If you feel good about your matchup, if you're playing, the bottom team in the league, yes, go without a kicker. But like, let's say, you are 1-3, 2-2, you kind of need that win. Then I think you can drop CPAT.
You need the win. Yep.
Alexis, good luck to you. Boba rocking with us. Beckham targeting mid-November return. Is he worth an ad? I have Gage to drop.
I'm not looking at that in any of my leagues. I mean, it's dependent, right? I don't want to make a blanket statement. If you have deep rosters, if you're going to drop somebody, here's a perfect one. Would you drop Allen Robinson, who's done nothing, for a potential Beckham return? I wouldn't.
Not being as far off as it is.
Right? Allen Robinson probably hasn't shown anything to really be on fantasy rosters. I still wouldn't drop him for an OBJ. That's the kind of level I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's still a little far off, but like if you have a deeper bench, it doesn't really seem like it if Gage is the guy that you're looking at dropping. Like I don't think Gage is necessarily someone you have to hold, especially now with Godwin being healthy and back in the fold. It's going to be hard to trust Gage, and Gage has been banged up on and off throughout the year. So I think you could drop him, but like that's still difficult to just hold on to someone who we don't know where he's going to land. We don't know how healthy he's going to be when he returns. Like if he lands back with the Rams, are we really that excited about it with the way everything has looked?
The only thing where I feel like I like him over Gage is if Mike Evans gets hurt and then Beckham signs with the Bucs, right? You know what I mean? Like Gage is a third option on a pass-heavy offense where if there's an injury to the two guys above him, he's probably a questionable start most weeks once he gets fully healthy. Where OBJ, I don't have a team, I don't have a return date, return to sender. I'm not picking him up.
This is also multiple ACL injuries for Odell as well, and now he's probably 30 at this point, 30-ish, 31, something like that. So.
Yeah. 29. Yep.
Monty and Myers both active. Do I still roll with Monty at flex? I would personally go Myers here. Slot wide receiver, rookie QB.
Yeah.
Good matchup.
I can see that narrative for sure. I'm just trying to, again, when it's close for me, I have this lineup. What am I doing? No, I'll still probably put Monty in, but I definitely can see your narrative coming true. But I'm still rolling Monty.
Got some bonus randos here coming from Raylan. Just trying to get all these in since we haven't been getting a bunch from him. We taking our dream girl to a night dinner date or a summer beach date? Asking for a friend. I think if that's your dream girl, you need to find out what she likes. Maybe she hates the beach. Maybe she hates sand.
Sand, yeah, I think the
Could you
summer
do?
beach
Could you
date.
do the? Could you do the night dinner date on the beach?
Combine
Boom.
them. I say nothing more.
Terry McLaurin or Deontay Johnson. I like Terry McLaurin this week.
I was hoping we get a Terry McLaurin question. I've been down on him all year. I've been slamming him each week. I'm locking him in as a top 15 wide receiver. I'm on TMC. The Titans defense is horrendous, and now they're also horrendous and injured. I think they're missing 5 starting defenders, and they're already bad. So give me TMC.
Interesting. I can't remember which podcast because the only podcasts I listen to in season are like DFS and betting podcasts because those guys are going to be the ones who break everything down, look at every single angle. I can't remember exactly what the percentage is, but specifically with Tennessee, they've been giving up a lot to outside wide receivers where Terry McLaurin has been playing. So I like TMC there, even without that information, but knowing that that obviously helps. T Trilla, Godwin, Hollywood, or St. Brown in a standard pick one. I'm rocking Godwin.
You're big on Godwin this week. I like it.
Especially in a standard. Good matchup for him. Can't say the same thing about St. Brown. Can't say the same thing about Hollywood.
I think standard hurts Godwin more than anybody as more of that possession guy than Hollywood deep. St. Brown, obviously, slot, but has shown he can hit it deep. I think if anything, standard hurts Godwin, and I'm going to lean Hollywood.
Well, your mother hates you and you're wrong. Here's a random one from TN.
Did he do it again?
And he also dropped it last night on the prop show with Tom and I. Dude, just balling out of control. The absolute GOAT, the OG, the number one. Like, what else can we say at this point?
The nest egg. Gosh.
So here's another random one. Then we'll drop down to TN and see what he has going on. Pancakes or waffles?
Oh, we've gotten this before.
This is waffles for me.
Pancakes, but indifferent. I don't rock them too often, so I'm not gonna fight for that. But I will probably fight for the Big Mac over the Whopper.
It's Whopper.
Man,
it's Whopper over the Big Mac.
I'll be honest. I don't eat any of these a whole ton. So if you want to go,
neither do I. Neither do I. If I'm doing fast food for burgers, I'm hitting up Five Guys. Chick-fil-A is obviously where I'm going with for the chicken, for the tendies, for the spicy chicken sandwich. Mm-hmm. But if I want one of these, I'm going Whopper. Just that smoky taste. Big Mac obviously has the sauce to go with it, but I think you're more likely to be disappointed by a Big Mac than you are a Whopper. I like the big onion rings. Big onion guy.
There you go. But that's great later for Katie.
Oh, I mean, like I said, we're married. I don't have to. Press it. If she doesn't want this onion breath, she doesn't have to take it. Yep. So here was a random question from Kev last night. Actually, Robbie, we did a keep trade cut with Bud Light. I think it was Bud Light, Miller Lite. I don't think was Coors part of it. No, it was Busch. It was Bud Light, Busch Light, and Miller Lite. Keep trade cut. But then Tan is throwing in the Coors Light here. But Kev's original question was Busch Light over Coors Light.
Which changes the ball game quite a bit. Now we're talking about things that I do partake in from time to time. I like what he's got here. Let's keep the Busch Light out for a second here. I think
it was keep bench cut.
Okay.
Not trade.
Keep bench cut. Okay, we got a lot of variables here. Which one do you want me to answer here?
Let's roll with TN. Let's roll
Yeah,
with what
yeah.
TN. I'm just setting the stage of
Okay.
TN said he's been thinking about it all night.
And how can you not? These questions need to be answered, and they will be right here. Dan, you've got it right. You've got the $100 answer right here. Where we're dropping Miller Lite. I don't need to worry about that till I'm 65. Wow. That's when I'll enter the Miller Lite phase of my light, and then I'm going to trade Coors Light just because I know the pocket of people that like Coors Light. When I trade it to them, they're going to love it a whole lot more than I do. I like me some Coors Light. I don't love me some Coors Light. I'm keeping Bud Light.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna drop Coors. I have Coors below Miller, and I hate Miller. I just dislike Coors even more. I'm definitely keeping Bud Light. I'm gonna trade Miller Lite because there's definitely some folks out there who love themselves some Miller Lite, and I'm not even gonna dick around with Coors. I'm gonna cut it. But Tom said that he would keep Miller Lite, cut Busch, and bench Bud Light. And I said I'd rather have Busch over Miller Lite.
He's also at that age where, each age you get older, that Miller Lite starts looking more and more enticing. So, I mean, I can understand his perspective, but he's wrong.
All right, we're going to leave TNs up here. Brian Ramsey, what is the definition of number 1 QB, number 12 and up? Simple math, adding average points in the games rushes played puts him in the top 12.
Was there a question, or did you just answer it?
I think Brian's saying, maybe we were a little too low on Cooper Rush for Brian's liking, and I think he's saying that Cooper has been a top 12 quarterback.
In fantasy? No chance. No.
Yeah.
I have not looked that up, but to be a top 12 quarterback, normally you're going to have 250 and 2, just because of how much other teams pass in the league that we're in now. I can look that up as we go.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Last week he had 2 touchdowns, which probably got him the closest. He was 13, right? So he had the 2 touchdowns and 225 yards and still didn't crack the top 12.
Oh, shoot. Guess I need to pull up quarterback here. Quarterback average points per game. Cooper Rush.
Well, you're gonna have to take out week 1 to make it fair.
Okay, I will do that. So we're going week 2 to week 4.
Well, I guess you're going points per game, but yeah.
Cooper Rush is still not sniffing the top 12. He is right ahead of Andy Dalton in points per game.
A low in QB2, I would assume. 10,
11, 12.
I don't know. We don't need to waste time on it. He's the low end QB2.
QB 24.
Yeah.
Joey C. Hey, would you guys consider starting ETN over Algier? Yes, I would. Both over Garrett Wilson, though. I think I would go Wilson over Algier. Like, I know Algier is going to be getting the bulk of the carries, but I just don't know how much he does against that Tampa Bay defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you there.
And Gator wants to know, would you try to package one of the receivers I mentioned along with one of my depth running backs with someone like Deebo Samuel or Lockett? I mean, I'm definitely not packaging to go after Tyler Lockett. I mean, I think you could probably trade a depth running back for Tyler Lockett. I'm definitely not packaging one of your top wide receivers or one of the I guess one of your bench wide receivers is what you mean. Trying to go back up to it. So Hollywood and Cooks, and then Bateman, Woods, A-Rob.
And who are we asking to put over them?
So you're just asking if he should package one of those wide receivers and go after somebody like Deebo or Lockett. And I was just saying, like, I wouldn't be packaging to go after Lockett.
No.
But I mean, if you want to go, package Hollywood and someone to go after Deebo, I mean, I guess you could. I guess you can try and do that. Cooks isn't going to get you there, and then the bench wide receivers that you talked about, Bateman, Woods, A-Rob. they're not going to get you up to Debo. So if you want to go after Debo, you're going to have to include Hollywood.
Barkley's back out there. Just scored.
Okay.
Good news.
All right.
Good news. Good news.
All right. Eagles D or Lions D. That is going to be the Eagles D for sure.
Mm-hmm.
NASCAR Fantasy Live Week 5 buys. Week 5, almost bye weeks here. Started running back and a flex in a PPR. So for running back, we have Jacobs, Connor, Ramondre, and Jeff Wilson.
Let's go.
Jacobs, Connor, Ramondre, and Jeff. We need one there in a full PPR.
I'll have Jeff Wilson the highest out of those 4.
And then we need a flex with what? Do you see the?
Yep, I'm there. And then I think I'm going. Dang, that's close.
It's gonna be one of the running backs for me.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of down on London in this spot for him with no Kyle Pitts, which in theory should make him better, but it's not like Pitts has been getting a ton of targets anyway. So it's gonna be.
I think it's gonna be
Connor and Wilson for me.
Yeah, I've got Josh Jacobs a little bit above Connor. Just he's been more efficient, a little bit better of a matchup against KC versus Connor going against Philly's defense. So give me Josh Jacobs slightly above Connor.
Truth, yes, we would put Kamara in over Jamal Williams. Crystal, who should I put in my flex? Kirk or St. Brown? I have Kupp and Chase as my 2 wide receivers for Kupp and Chase. Very well done, Crystal. I'm going to go Kirk. I like that matchup better for him versus St. Brown going up against, potentially banged up, potentially limited. I don't know. And it's not like you're going from, a St. Brown down to, I know you said he's out, but somebody like a Isaiah McKenzie, for instance. So I think I'm going to go with Kirk.
Yep.
Rough times, I have Chubb, Eckler, Kamara, Pierce, J-Rob, and Sanders as RBs. 10-team, 4-player keeper. Chose Pierce over J-Rob last week, won by 5. Let's go.
Oh, he's giving us the rest of his lineup because we were trying to start. I just wanted to know who else he had, and with Chubb and Eckler, Kamara, you're gonna sit J-Rob and we picked Sanders over Pierce and J-Rob, didn't we? That's where I still lean. It's that close where I could be fooled 30 minutes later, but Sanders slightly above those other 2.
Do we still like Olave as much with MT? I think MT's out. But
out.
Going forward, Olave was still getting a lot of those air yards, which is what's making him such an enticing fantasy play. Obviously, he's getting more looks, but we're still going to like him. He'll get dropped down ranks a tad, but still going to be that nice option there for you. PPR, Breece Hall or J.K. Dobbins. It's going to be Dobbins for us. Jay Rosa, would you start Mostert, Montgomery, or Gallup at the flex? That is going to be Mostert for me. I'm going to go Mostert over Monty.
That's fine. Less risk there. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I feel like if Gallup didn't find the end zone last week, we wouldn't be looking at him quite yet.
Let's give him time.
Laura and Jim, Ayuk or Reynolds in a PPR? I'm going to go Ayuk. If Amon-Ra's back, I think that dings Reynolds. Reynolds was on the injury report earlier in the week. Obviously, he's expected to go. He's active. But I'm going to go Ayuk there.
Yeah, just quickly, I'm going to go Josh Reynolds, and the reason being that over-under for the 49ers-Panthers is lowest on the slate. You talked about Kittle. Right? They're maybe not going to have the most passing in this game because of just how they operate as a football team and because they're most likely leading against the Panthers. If Ayuk's that third guy with all those other factors, that's a little bit more risky than Reynolds, who did produce when Amon-Ra was there week 3. So I'm going to go Reynolds over Ayuk.
Sorry we couldn't help you out there, Laura and Jen. I'm still going to rock with Ayuk. in a better matchup. 10-team PPR, start 1 RB, 1 flex here for our guy Ashton. You got J-Rob, Hunt, Damien Harris, Woods, Zay Jones, or Ayuk. So for the running back, I'm going to go J-Rob and Damien Harris for the RB and the flex.
Yep, I figured we would be consensus there.
Kamara, Connor, Eckler, I have all 3 start 1.
What is happening with these teams?
It's between Kamara and Eckler for me. Eckler's been vastly disappointing, outside of getting a bunch of garbage time catches. I know he found the end zone twice last week. Man. I'm going to go Eckler, but it's really close.
Yeah, Eckler has 25 targets in the past 3 weeks. That's a good floor if we're talking PPR. I get it. Kamara can do almost that, but I'm gonna go Eckler. I have Eckler's running back 3 on the week.
12-team PPR, start 1, Woods, Cooper, or Zay Jones. This is going to be Amari for me. I'd rank them Cooper, Zay, and Woods.
Yeah, it's going to be
Fuck
Cooper.
Robert Woods. Fuck
Tennessee. Done with them every week.
Roman, need to make room for kicker. Who's droppable in a 12-man full PPR super flex? Mariota, Cooks, or Saints? Benches Allen, Pickett, J-Rob, Cook, Madison, Breece Hall, and the 49ers. But you're definitely looking at one of those defenses.
Yeah. 49ers have a fantastic. They're the tight end or the defensive 1 or 2 in most rankings consensus wise. You're dropping the Saints.
Yeah. Dropping the Saints there as well. Fam first, should I bench one? Olave, Hollywood, or should I? Okay, if I would just read the whole thing instead of trying to decipher what the first part is, do we bench one of these for McLaurin?
The way I have my rankings says I'm benching my love Chris Olave for the hatred of TMC. Just kidding. I don't hate TMC, just not as high on him for the season long. I am benching Olave for Terry McLaurin. Yes.
Yeah. Tight end premium. We need 2 here with Elijah Moore, Robbie Anderson, MVS, Gesicki, and Mooney.
We had the stick do something poking Darnell Mooney, and he finally did something. And I imagine he's going to need to do something in this matchup against the Vikings.
And it's not a bad matchup for him either. That Vikings secondary does not scare me.
Yeah, I think I'll go Mooney.
Mooney and Eli.
Oh, because we need 2. Yeah. I was going to say that's who I'm trying to decide between. Now that I read the question fully, Elijah Moore will be the second one for me.
So Truth does need the dub. I'm going to drop CPAT. What kicker should I get? Folk, Patterson, Amendola, Badgley, Joseph, Robbie Gould, York.
Let me brush off the kicker rankings here, and I am going to look at Joseph for Minnesota. I think they're going to put up a lot of points. Give me 2 field goals and 2 extra points, hopefully, from him.
You can drop another one for a kicker here. Wilson, Harris, Cook, Singletary, Dobbs. Well, I don't think you're going to be able to drop Dobbs at this point, rough times with the games going on. I mean, if you're able to, like maybe if they're sitting on your bench, you're allowed to drop them even when the game is underway. Maybe you have a line, a format like that. What Wilson is this rough times? Because frankly, I wouldn't be looking to drop any of these guys. I think this is one of those situations where I don't necessarily think I would just go without the kicker because you can't drop Singletary. I don't want to drop Cooks. You can't drop Harris. Like I'm not going to drop any of these guys. And if that's Jeff Wilson, if that's Zach Wilson, go ahead and drop him, assuming you have another quarterback. But if that's Jeff Wilson, like I'm not dropping any of these guys to let my league mates pick them up. I'm just going to roll without the kicker.
I'm going to make an assumption. It's probably a dangerous assumption. I'm going to assume it's a smaller league, right? 10 teams. I don't know a scenario where I find Devin Singletary starting for me, even when bye weeks hit. If he's got Damien Harris, let's say that's Jeff Wilson, right? Or if those are his bench running backs.
Singletary been balling.
And I'm a Singletary guy. But if this is a 10-team league, if you can drop Dobbs will be my drop. And then it's probably Singletary, assuming it's not Zach Wilson.
12-team PPR, are you rolling Juju, who is questionable and plays Monday, or DPJ? And that's going to be Juju for both of us. I mean, if you absolutely have to, like there should be, an MVS or, even like a Sky Moore that you could potentially pick up and plug in if Hardman. Sorry, not MVS. MVS. Jeez, I'm getting some of these teams and receivers mixed up. But yes, rolling Juju there, and then you should be able to make some kind of move to fill that spot. Have PPR, Duvernay, Zay Jones, Goddard, Jacoby Myers, Gallup. We need 2 here for Ken.
Give me
going Goddard.
Yeah, Goddard and Duvernay for me. No Rashad Bateman.
I mean, I know, I get it. I had me and Tomb King were going back and forth in the DMs a little bit because we disagreed on a Duvernay question. I know there's no Rashad Bateman, but it's not like Bateman has been getting 8-9 targets per game. He's been getting 4, 5, 6. I think, Duvernay, if Duvernay doesn't have 3 touchdowns on the season, are we really looking at him and excited about playing him? I'm going to go Goddard and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I understand that thought process. I'll go with Bailey Zappi at QB most likely. I'm going to go Duvernay.
2 and 2. Not okay. It's again, just read. Just read and everything will be okay. Non-PPR team good enough to win the chip. Goff, Kamara, Dobbins, JJ Chase, Goddard, Dillon/Gabe Davis.
You're going to struggle with Goff most likely being probably inconsistent, but the rest of that team is fine. So maybe you're missing Dak and Dak comes back because that's the situation I'm in right now. I think this is a good team. I think just most weeks you're going to find yourself 5 to 10 points behind at quarterback. Maybe not 10, 5 to 7 points behind at quarterback.
Yeah. Like that team as well. In a league that starts at million players at a tight end premium, we need 2 here with Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram, or MVS. Feels weird to say, but I'm locking in Hunter Henry.
Here. I want to finally say it. Let's go. Yes.
Who's the second start here?
MVS, just based on that he can hit that long bomb.
Gabe Davis or London?
People have been disappointed with Gabe Davis, but I think it's because they propped him up to be something that I don't think he quite is yet. That said, I'm going to have Davis over. Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to go Gabe Davis over London.
The Joker, need 2 full PPR, Jamal Williams, Jeff Wilson, Ramondre Stevenson, Rashad Penny, and Monty. That is going to be, man.
I really want to start. Go ahead.
I think we might be on the same page. I think this might be the week to fade Jamal Williams because I want to get Stevenson in my lineup.
I want to get Stevenson in my lineup. He's in my DFS. Yeah, he's in all my DFS. I do have Jamal Williams above Stevenson. Wilson and Stevenson, let's ride. Let's update the rankings. Let's just do it.
Rochita, Hall, Smith, or Reynolds is going to be Smitty, I'm assuming, for both of us.
Yeah.
Jamal or Mixon for Terry?
Keep rocking with Mixon. He's got the volume, just needs the production.
Deontay or Damien Harris? This is interesting in a PPR. I'm going to go Damien Harris. I think he smashes.
I mean, he's been scoring every week, essentially, and he can't get a better matchup.
Yeah. Kamara or Jamal? This is going to be Kamara for both of us. And then Amon-Ra Hollywood or, man, a lot of these Amon-Ra Hollywood, and then even throwing in Sanders into this mix. Who do you like out of these three?
PPR, I think we had a Sanders Hollywood and we were split. I took, maybe it wasn't that one exactly, but I'm going to stay with Hollywood. I'm going to stay with Hollywood there.
I think we were split on it, and the way that I kind of broke this down, Mike, was if you need the upside, I'm going Hollywood. If you need safety, I'm going Sanders. I do like the spot that he is in. Last one here from Perry. Flex 2 of these. We have Lamb, Deontay, Smith, Eli, and Stevenson.
CD and Stevenson. Although Devonta Smith is right there with CD.
CD I had locked in as well, and then it was between those other two, the same for me. Man. Again, I'll take the hedgeway out here, Perry. I think if you needed to, swing, Stevenson has upside this week. I really, 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 really like him in this matchup. But I think just because of the fact that he's splitting and with how bad the Cardinals secondary is, I think Devonta Smith might have the higher ceiling.
Lions,
potentially.
Yeah, Lions secondary for sure.
But Stevenson is a really good play here. I think, Stevenson, likely gets you 15 to 17 PPR points. I think he ends up finding the end zone here. So I think if you need that safety with a bit of upside on his own, I'd roll Stevenson. But if you just want to swing for the fences, I mean, we saw Smitty have 10 for 140 or something, just a week or so ago with a healthy AJ Brown. So
8 for 169, a touchdown, followed that up with 3 for 17. That's going to be your risk. Yeah. What's your risk tolerance with that variable?
NASCAR, I think we answered this, but RB in a flex, Jacobs, Connor, Ramondre, Jeff. Yeah, we did, because we're both starting the running backs here. Jeff Wilson. Who was the second one?
I had Jacobs. I think you had said Connor, and I had just taken the more efficient back. But then we got really hot on Stevenson. I'll stick Jeff Wilson, then Jacobs. Really like Stevenson, but I won't start him here.
And this one's going to be J.K. Dobbins for us as well. Since Pitts is out, Conklin or Disley?
Conklin.
Mike Williams, Drake London, Christian Kirk.
Williams. Really like Kirk, but give me Mike Williams.
Yeah. Did the Giants beat the Packers?
I hope so. I hope so. Tied up. Oh, no, they're up by 7.
15 seconds left, and they have the ball.
Love it.
Well, my same game parlay is dead in the water anyway, so I don't care what happens in that game now. Good morning to you, Mark. Amon-Ra questionable. Higgins. I'm going Higgins there.
Yeah, he's going to be right there whether Amon-Ra was healthy or not. Now you don't even have to worry about anything with the health risk.
Appreciate you guys rocking with us. Any last-minute questions, you can jump into the Discord and we'll answer them over there. Good luck in Week 5. We'll be back tonight with the first look at Week 6 waivers. Thank you for rocking with us. Hit us with a sub and a like, and we'll talk to you all soon.